Chapter 753, Nangong Yuer lost. If the third princess is afraid of being wounded, then it is better to not participate in this tournament. Bailey Hongzwang was indifferent. Even if Nangong Yuer's talent was good, her heart and behavior made it impossible for her to have much success in the future. It is difficult to gain strength if one was not constantly fighting on the line between life and death. One needed to experience certain risks. However, Nangong Yuer could not even stand this wound, so how could her achievements be good? That is awesome. Hongzhuang is too good. This useless princess thought she was so good, but look at the final result. Xia Jiqing's face was filled with excitement. She had not expected that Nangong Yuer would have said so many words before, and even ridiculed Bailey Hongzhuang as a rival prior to the battle. Zhang Yunfeng and the others also held smiles on their faces. The royal family was really not good. At least Nangong Yuer was way too spoiled, not at all like a cultivator. Nangong Yuer has only practiced at the academy and at the royal palace. She has never really fought a serious battle before. Although her cultivation base is good, her combat ability is not at all comparable to a cultivator of the same rank. Even if her martial arts are strong, as long as the opponent has some sort of experience, she won't stand a chance. Gong Shaoqing's eyes were flashing with wisdom. Such a practitioner was not at all useful. Sometimes, the better the family was, the worse the combat ability of the cultivators, because they were reluctant to be wounded and die. You are completely correct, this is the disadvantage of the royal family. Mo Yunjue nodded slowly and admitted that Gong Shaoqing had seen through the key problem with a simple glance. Mo Gongzi, you have stayed in the Qing dynasty for so long, do you know if the princes are the same as Nangong Yuer? Bai Junyu could not help but ask. They had only heard about Nangong Aochen's strength being overwhelming, they had no idea if he and Nangong Yuer were the same. If Nangong Aochen was the same as her, then they did not need to worry. However, Mo Yunjue shook his head. Nangong Aochen is known to be the most outstanding prince of the Qing dynasty. He wields excellent strength, his mind and character have no flaws. He is completely different from the arrogant Nangong Yuer. It's not only his cultivation base which is high, he is the real enemy. When he finished speaking, the expressions of the others turned heavy. They had not expected that Nangong Aochen was so powerful. It seems that if they wanted to win the college tournament, then it would be very difficult. I believe in the strength of Hongzhuang. Xia Jiqing stubbornly believed that Bailey Hongzhuang would win. She had a feeling that she would never lose. The others knew that Xia Jiqing saw Bailey Hongzhuang as an invincible general. But even so they felt some helplessness. Nangong Yujin and Nangong Xiujie did not think that Nangong Yuer would be seriously injured by Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Yuer could not stand the pain, it was impossible for the battle to continue. I did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang actually had some strength. Nangong Xiujie's eyes were filled with surprise, and a touch of interest flashed through. No matter how strong Bailey Hongzhuang was, she would definitely be defeated by his hands. Yuer's temper is a big weakness for her. Even if she has not been defeated yet, she can only lose. Yuer has never been able to stand the pain. Nangong Yujin was feeling helpless. He knew that with her temper and personality she could not continue. Chapter 754, Bailey Hongzhuang won. Bailey Hongzhuang wins. When the words of the judge fell, everyone knew that Bailey Hongzhuang had won and successfully advanced. When Bailey Hongzhuang lightly walked down the arena, there was no expression on her beautiful face. This kind of achievement was not enough for her. Nangong Yuer directly left towards the Lingyin College to deal with the injury. Before she left, the hatred in her eyes was even more intense. The Qing dynasty was her turf, and the man she wanted was grabbed by Bailey Hongzhuang, now she had even dared to hurt her. She would never let Bailey Hongzhuang leave this country alive. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not care about her threat at all. If a threat alone had the power to kill her, then she would have died many times over already. Unfortunately, there were many people in the world who wanted her to die, and if they continued to cause trouble, she would help them on the way. Master, this disgusting princess is really annoying. Why not just directly kill her? Little Black's eyes flashed with anger. She was just a simple princess, but she dared to threaten its owner, simply courting death. Yes, she will definitely find troubles for you in the future. It is better to kill her for our own survival. Little White and Little Black were both very straightforward creatures. They would never drag on anything that could be solved fast, and their ideas had always been to kill fast. The phoenix eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang flashed with a cold light as she smiled slightly. Don't you worry, I have not gone easy on the enemy. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang, Little Black and Little White were both enlightened. According to her words, she had already begun her revenge. Not waiting for Little Black and Little White to ask, Bailey Hongzhuang had already returned to the ranks of the Kanglin College students. When they saw the return of Bailey Hongzhuang, Xia Jiqing was the first to rush up. Hongzhuang, you are simply too great. Nangong Yuer's just unfortunate that her fighting ability is not too good. Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. Nangong Yuer was usually so proud of her own strength. Not only was her strength outstanding but her background was also very strong. However, they could never have thought that she was just a paper tiger. As long Bailey Hongzhuang realized this, she could have solved the battle long ago, but she did not. Listening to the judgment from Bailey Hongzhuang, Mo Yunjue's eyes also showed signs of praise. The comparison between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Yuer was such that Nangong Yuer would lose on all fronts. Wan Yulong's face was very ugly. He did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang was at the second layer of the Red Realm. As long as he had known about this, he would not have promoted the battle. As a mentor of Nangong Yuer, he was also very familiar with her strength. Although Nangong Yuer was in the second layer of the Red Realm, it was only achieved under the accumulation of countless resources, and there was a certain gap when she was compared to other cultivators. However, a rank meant that one still wielded a certain amount of strength, so if the opponent was weaker than her, then it was highly likely that she would have won. Who would have thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was actually also at the second layer of the Red Realm? Damn, I did not see through the cultivation base of Bailey Hongzhuang. Wan Yulong was deeply annoyed in his heart. He had previously noticed Bailey Hongzhuang, but there seemed to be an invisible energy shielding her. He could not accurately judge her cultivation base. Chapter 755, Striking a Deal with Mo Yunjue. In fact, ever since Bailey Hongzhuang started cultivating, her cultivation base could not be detected unless she intentionally exposed her strength in battle. Because of this, the Lingyin College lost a certain win fight. Jian Qingqiu had an ugly expression on his face. If she had fought against Xia Jiqing she would have won without a problem, but she just had to challenge Bailey Hongzhuang. The challenge was even accepted, but in the end she lost. Losing a game like this was simply a joke. As the principal of the Lingyin College he had also lost face. Jian Qingqiu could not help but look at Ruan Yulong, and Ruan Yulong was looking so shocked that his soul was flying away. He was punished before and only came out just now. He had not expected that such a thing would happen, and now he feared that the principal would not let him off. Thinking about it, Wan Yulong's heart turned cold. How could he possibly be so unlucky? The smile on Huan Chuyo's face widened a few parts. The fact that Kanglin College had been capable of recruiting Bailey Hongzhuang was truly a blessing of the college. Before he left, he and Ren Tianxiong had already been mentally prepared for the loss. They had not expected that Bailey Hongzhuang would be this amazing. Maybe there might still be a glimmer of hope. When Sang Hongxi saw the ugly expression on Jian Qingqiu's face he actually found it a little fun. Even though he and Lingyin College were comrades, because of the previous defeat of Beihai College, Jian Qingqiu had not given him even a little face. Now that Lingyin College had lost a game, it was possible for Beihai College to get back into the game. This was quite fun. Second round, Gong Shaoqing against Shui Haolang. Gong Shaoqing, you can do it. Bailey Hongzhuang had a bright smile on her face. She believed that Gong Shaoqing would be able to win this fight. Gong Shaoqing gave a slight nod before he walked to the martial arts platform. His aura was bright and his confidence caused everyone's eyes to brighten. With the temperament and appearance of Gong Shaoqing, he had received a lot of attention back at Kanglan College. However, this was Lingyin College, and there were many students who had not noticed him. Compared to Gong Shaoqing's overwhelming self-confidence, the morale of Xue Haolang was very low. The previous scene had caused him to be reprimanded by the mentors, causing him to be in low spirits. Looking at the weapon in his hands, he never again felt the same kind of success. He had actually regretted using the inscription. Without this inscription he would never have fallen into this situation. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly walked to the side of Mo Yunjue and her eyebrows lifted playfully. Mo Gongzi, I am being targeted by Nangong Yuer because of you. Hearing this, Mo Yunjue's lips curled into a smile. I helped you once, you also solved a problem for me, isn't this good? Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Mo Yunjue but instantly regained her sights as she nodded. That's a deal. You couldn't have helped me on that day for the sake of getting me to help you with her. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were shining with a wise light. Since Nangong Xiujie and Nangong Yujin were there, he would be able to tell that Nangong Yuer would know about it within a few days. Mo Yunjue waved his hand, this is just a coincidence. How could I expect this to happen? You are thinking too much. Chapter 756, Gong Shaoqing wins. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly. If Mo Yunjue said that he was unable to think of this happening, then she would not believe it. He was very intelligent and shrewd. However, no matter for what purpose Mo Yunjue helped her, help is help, and they ought to help one another. She was not afraid of being entangled with Nangong Yuer, and the days of Mo Yunjue could not be pleasant with her around. The situation was as good as Bailey Hongzhuang had expected. Gong Shaoqing's strength was overwhelming. Even if Xue Haolang had been at his peak, he would still not be the opponent of Gong Shaoqing, and now his state was really bad. Under such situations, Xue Haolang's loss can be guaranteed. Just a simple clash, but everyone had already determined the winner. The two mentors of Beihai College were also very anxious after seeing this scene, but now that the battle had begun, they could do nothing. Sang Hongxi's face was also very ugly. The performance of Beihai College in the first round was already unsatisfactory. If Xue Haolang lost now, then it would be even worse. Boom! With a sweeping attack of Gong Shaoqing, Xue Haolang's body fell heavily onto the ground. Just as he tried to stand up, Gong Shaoqing's sword appeared in front of him. Gong Shaoqing wins. The judge immediately announced the result. The outcome of the battle was as clear as day. As soon as the sentence was said, Xue Haolang was like a lost child. His expression was stunned and his mood was horrible. He never thought it would end like this. Before the start of the college tournament, he would never have expected this ending. He had only thought of ridiculing the Kanglan College cultivators, but now he felt as if he was the real joke. Gong Shaoqing slowly walked down from the stage. In the second round, the Kanglan College had won 2 consecutive victories. The result had shocked and surprised many people. Previously I heard that the cultivators of Kanglan College were trash. Now I think that it is Beihai College which is the true trashy college. The previous Xue Haolang was so arrogant, but now he learned the truth. He lost and he is unable to be smug any longer. This time the Kanglan College has done well. Sang Hongxi's face was unsightly, but he had to keep smiling. In the past, Sang Hongxi was full of glory, but this year the situation was different. Gong Shaoqing, well fought. Dong Fangyu patted Gong Shaoqing on the shoulder, immensely proud of his brother's results. He was very happy. Xue Haolang is not in a good state right now. This can also be considered a lucky draw. Gong Shaoqing looked indifferent. This battle had not required all his strength, he could only say that his luck was very good. Dong Fangyu, Nangong Xiujie is not a good person to deal with, you have to be careful in the next round. Hearing this, Dongfang Yu nodded slightly. I understand that Nangong Xiujie is already at the innate realm. It is basically impossible for me to defeat him. Feeling the worried eyes of all the others, Dongfang Yu looked very carefree and easygoing. Don't worry so much. This is a test, and it is also a good chance to fight against an innate realm cultivator. It will be a good learning experience. They could see that Dongfang Yu had already prepared himself mentally, and everyone was relieved. Chapter 757, More Than One Can Bear. The truth was that when Dongfang Yu found out that his opponent was Nangong Xiujie, he knew that he would lose. With the cultivation base of Nangong Xiujie and the background of the royal family, Dongfang Yu had no chance of winning. According to Lingyin College, Nangong Xiujie was able to enter the finals. It could be said that Dongfang Yu's luck was not very good. Third game starts, Dongfang Yu against Nangong Xiujie. On the stage, Nangong Xiujie's gaze landed on Bailey Hongzhuang. It did not matter whether or not what Mo Yunjue had said was correct, a hostility had already appeared between himself and Bailey Hongzhuang. He had originally hoped that this battle would be against Bailey Hongzhuang. He had not thought that Nangong Yuer would have taken the lead in challenging her. Since the current opponent was also from Kanglin College, he would first recover some interest from Donggang Yu. Feeling the provocative gaze of Nangong Xiujie, a touch of worry emerged within Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. With such a narrow-hearted man as Nangong Xiujie, she was afraid that something bad might happen in the fight. Begin, the judge waved his hand. Immediately Dongfang Yu and Nangong Xiujie began battling. Nangong Xiujie did not hesitate at all and rushed directly to Dongfang Yu. The force of a third-layered Red Realm cultivator erupted and enveloped Dongfang Yu. When he felt the mighty strength of Nangong Xiujie, there was a bit of tension in the eyes of Dongfang Yu. The gap in their power was really too big, it would be difficult to even resist against a few attacks made by Nangong Xiujie. Boom! Nangong Xiujie slammed the palm of his hand directly on the body of Dongfang Yu. Dongfang Yu's face became pale in an instant, but his body did not collapse. Even if he was defeated, he would not give up easily. This was his belief. However, when they saw the next act, the eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang held a touch of anger. On top of the arena, Nangong Xiujie was intentionally playing Dongfang Yu, continually attacking him, but not letting him lose the last part of battle strength. It looked like a cat playing with a mouse, it was equivalent to completely stomping on the dignity of Dongfang Yu. Even when Dongfang Yu did his best, he could not hurt Nangong Xiujie. His face was extremely ugly because he knew that Nangong Xiujie was playing him like a monkey, but he had no other way. Because he refused to say that he admitted defeat. Seeing this, the faces of everyone watching was ugly, while the face of the Kanglin College students was filled with anger. Damn! This Nangong Xiujie is such a jerk. Xia Jiqing's eyes burned with raging anger, she was fed up with them and this was too much. I really want to rush up and tear this bastard up directly. Bai Junyu was also very disgusted. This was not only an insult of his strength, but also trampling on his dignity. Even if he managed to get out of this battle, there was a chance that his belief in cultivation would have been gone after such an experience. Because Nangong Xiujie was trying to defeat Dongfang Yu's heart in this way. The eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang was filled with coldness and her hands were clenched into fists. Early on she had expected that Nangong Xiujie would make it ugly, but she did not think that he would use such despicable means, it was simply disgusting. Chapter 758, Trampling on his dignity. Nangong Yujin's face showed a thick smile. He had long since known that his second brother was not going to let go of Bailey Hongzhuang and the other people, but even he had to applaud the way that Nangong Xiujie was doing it. Those who thought that they had some strength, it was best to humiliate them completely, to make them understand how big the gap between them was. To offend them was a dead end. Bang! Nangong Xiujie had had his fun and was starting to find it boring, so he slammed directly at Dongfang Yu's chest. Dongfang Yu held his chest, his face was pale, and his forehead was covered with sweat, but he was still standing tall on the platform. Nangong Xiujie, you are too deceiving. Before entering the arena he had already been prepared, but he had never thought that Nangong Xiujie would be so shameless. It was beyond his expectations. He already knew the gap between the two of them, but Nangong Xiujie was doing this as undisguised humiliation. Completely trampling on his dignity and not giving him any face. Nangong Xiujie's mouth smirked and he was too lazy to care about the accusation of Dongfang Yu. Instead he ridiculed, "Trash like you do not deserve dignity." When the voice of Nangong Xiujie fell he did not even look at Dongfang Yu but lazily went back to the Lingyin College. Only the face of Dongfang Yu was completely white. The words of Nangong Xiujie were a big blow to his heart. Lu Huayan and Fu Hongba immediately went to Dongfang Yu and helped him up from the ground. Their eyes was also filled with anger. Dongfang Yu had always been a student they were proud of. As long as he continued to grow he would become a powerful cultivator. However, such a move from Nangong Xiujie almost destroyed his self-confidence. How could they possibly endure this as a mentor? In Huan Chuyo's eyes was also a raging light of anger. The hands under the sleeves were tightly clenched. This was not a test but a direct insult to his personality. Jiang Qingqiu was also surprised, but there was a smile at the bottom of his eyes. In this way, Nangong Xiujie showed the gap between the Kanglin College and the Lingyin College. Song Hongxi was also smiling slightly. Although he had lost face because of Xue Haolang and Lu Jinglin's performances, now Kanglin College had also lost a person. When thinking about this, he was feeling much better. The next moment Jiang Qingke turned around and smiled slightly with a fake apology on his face. "I am sorry for this old man, this is just the character of Nangong Xiujie, I hope you can forgive him. Principal Jian, this is simply a college tournament. This is not acceptable at all," Huan Chuyu said slowly. Although there was no expression or emotion on his face, everyone could tell that Huan Chuyu was angry. The Kanglin College is not like Lingyin and Beihai College. What they value is not achievements but their students. If Dongfang Yu lost confidence in himself because of this, he would be much more embarrassed even if they won. Chapter 759, Dongfang Yu's pain, is that so? Jian Qingqiu smiled slightly with a bit of disappointment in his eyes. This is just a contest, but there is nothing wrong with Nangong Xiujie's method. Besides, your student does not have any severe injuries, right? When listening to Jian Qingqiu, Huan Chuyo's eyes flashed with coldness. He could see from the beginning that his apology was nothing more than pretense. It is exactly because of this that he felt so disgusted by him. He was like a repulsing snake. If Principal Jian really thinks so, then I have nothing else to say. The tone of Huan Chuyu was not good. Anyone who encountered such a thing will feel disgusted, not to mention it was his student who was injured. But it seemed that Jian Qingqiu did not care. When looking at Huan Chuyu, Jiang Qingqiu's eyes showed a touch of disdain, but mostly indifference. Nangong Xiujie was born this way, not to mention other geniuses, so if someone wants to test his strength they are more than welcome, I will have no comment. When speaking, Jian Qingqiu was clearly showing off, saying that no one could beat Nangong Xiujie. Principal Jian, the mountain will fall to water one day. Being low-key is good, otherwise one day, you will regret it severely. Huan Chuyu left those words as he stood up. He no longer cared about Jian Qingqiu and left the seating, unwilling to share a seat with him any longer. He would much rather be with the college team. Seeing the movements of Huan Chuyu, there was a strange expression in Jian Qingqiu's eyes, but he then sneered. It seems that the temperament of the Kanglin College is getting bigger and bigger. I am afraid that when you lose, you will lose more than you can afford. Jian Qingqiu's voice was cold and filled with ridicule. Today, Kanglin College was already on a downward trend, it might completely be removed from the continent soon. The Kanglan College is only afraid that they will lose. I am sure they have no real skills. Song Hongxi chuckled. Both Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi looked at each other and laughed. They wanted the Kanglan College to suffer. Dong Fangyu was returned to the team with Lu Huaiyan and Fu Hongba, however his entire face was filled with sadness and sorrow at the moment, even his usually sparkling eyes were dull. Dong Fangyu, you need to go further, one setback cannot stop you, Lu Huaiyan said. However, when he heard this, a painful light shone in his eyes. Since he began cultivating, he had never suffered such humiliation. He was hit hard and could not get out of it any time soon. At this moment Huan Chuyu also came to the side of Dong Fangyu, and when looking at him he knew the situation was not looking good. Even as a vice president he had never seen it so bad before. If Dong Fangyu couldn't handle the setback he would become useless. Go, take Dong Fangyu back and rest. Huan Chuyu made a decision and instantly sent them back with him. Being in a noisy environment was not beneficial. Lu Huaiyan and Fu Hongba quickly nodded and did as they were told. They took Dong Fangyu back to rest at their residence. Chapter 760, Damn that Nangong Xiujie, you have to rest now. Bailey Hongzhuang and Gong Shaoqing, if anything happens, come to us. Lu Huanyan said. Don't worry, we have no problem. After Dong Fangyu left, the faces of the others turned gloomy. Whenever they thought about the warm and sunshine-like boy that Dong Fangyu was, and then the pain-filled appearance he had just now, everyone's heart was in distress. Nangong Xiujie was far too evil. Acting so arrogantly, his heart is so despicable, he is really shameless. Even the cold and ruthless Gong Shaoqing was angry at this point and slammed his hand against the bench. Dong Fangyu was a friend he had for a long time. The two had long ago considered the other their brother. Now that Dong Fangyu was so humiliated, how could he calm down? Even Bailey Hongzhuang was dull. The person that Nangong Xiujie wants to humiliate is me. Dong Fangyu just got implicated by me. Whenever she thought about this, her mood became heavier. If it was not for her, he would not have been treated like this. Cui Haoyan waved his hand. That day, on the first tower, Nangong Xiujie obviously hated all of us. He wants to humiliate us all under the eyes of the vast crowd. Bali Hongzhuang, don't overthink. That said, on that day, it was solely Nangong Xiujie looking for trouble. How can it possibly be blamed on Bailey Hongzhuang? Nangong Xiujie is really shameless. We have to find a way to avenge Dong Fangyu. Xia Jiqing's face was filled with anger. The other party bullied them to such a point, wouldn't they seem weak if they did not fight back? Damn that Nangong Xiujie. The eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang burst with brilliance and her face was cold as frost, making anyone who looked at her feel cold. Everyone could feel the cold and murderous aura emanating from Bailey Hongzhuang. Even the surrounding air temperature seemed to drop alongside her murderous intent. From the beginning to the end, it had always been Nangong Xiujie and Nangong Yujin looking for trouble with them. Now that they had treated Dong Fangyu like this, it was simply unforgivable. Bailey Hongzhuang had always been a morally upright person. If Nangong Xiujie had come for her, then that'd be fine, but he had dared to touch her teammates. She would make Nangong Xiujie regret it. He was going to regret everything that he did. When sensing the murderous aura that erupted from Bailey Hongzhuang, everyone felt surprised. They had always seen her as being very kind, they had never seen such a side to her before. However, when sensing her change, they all felt the same. Nangong Xiujie was now the opponent of their entire college. The gaze of Mo Yunjue also fell onto Bailey Hongzhuang. He had always known that she was not a soft-hearted person. She was only treating her friends kindly. He was afraid that she would be immensely fierce against her enemies. At the same time, the fact that Dong Fangyu was treated like this also had something to do with him. His eyes turned black and dangerous with a touch of indifference. His eyes landed on Nangong Xiujie, who was not far away. It seemed that Nangong Xiujie was still not clear about the consequences of offending him. However, at this moment Nangong Xiujie was still busy accepting the praise of everyone from the team of Lingyin College. The Kanglin College was not his opponent at all. Chapter 761, Violent Xia Jiqing. Feeling the cold eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang, Nangong Xiujie was even more proud. He even provocatively raised an eyebrow when looking at her. From the moment that Bailey Hongzhuang offended him, she was destined to humiliation. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was filled with an enchanting smile, but her dark eyes were flashing with a deadly light. Next Bailey Hongzhuang slowly raised her thumbs at Nangong Xiujie, and then, under the strange eyes of everyone, the thumb flipped over and tuned downward fast. When seeing the provocative action of Bailey Hongzhuang, Nangong Xiujie's face also tuned ugly. Damn it! Even now, Bailey Hongzhuang actually dared to challenge him. She was simply looking for death. Just when Nangong Xiujie was about to fight back, Bailey Hongzhuang slowly recovered her sight and stopped looking at him. Feeling the naked contempt that Bailey Hongzhuang was showing him, Nangong Xiujie's face was really ugly. He did not understand what exactly gave Bailey Hongzhuang the qualifications of despising him. Second brother, don't be angry. Bailey Hongzhuang is trying to make you angry this way. Nangong Yujin held a smug smile on his face. Just the situation of Dongfang Yu had already angered them this much. If his older brother did it a few more times, wouldn't they collapse completely? Hearing the words, Nangong Xiujie's face was also good once more. It is true that their cultivators are immensely weak. Next Xia Jiqing was up against Nan Yangzi. Perhaps Xia Jiqing was too angry, but in the fight she directly viewed Nan Yangzi as Nangong Xiujie and erupted with a fierce attack. She was extremely violent. The scene attracted a shocking attention from the audience. No one thought that Xia Jiqing would be so horrible when she exploded in anger. It truly surprised many people. When Nan Yangzi lost in the hands of Xia Jiqing, she seemed to have been addicted to beating him, which had led to a burst of speechlessness. When the results of the second round was announced, the Beihai College was the ones who had the ugliest faces. In the third round they only had one person. Song Hongxi's face had the same color as pig's liver. Xiao Lanmei was their only final chance to enter the finals. If not, then Beihai College would lose all face. The next test is in an hour. After this time the third round will be held. When the words fell they all returned to the rest area. Jiqing, your battle was too shocking and violent. You have surprised us all. Zhang Yunfeng could not help but feel emotional. It seemed that one should not simply insult Xia Jiqing. Her power was not to be belittled. Xia Jiqing was a little embarrassed. I was too angry and just exploded. I did not expect that I would be able to advance to the third round. Our college has gotten 3 who advanced to the third round. In comparison to the other 2 colleges, ours is doing the best. Gong Shaoqing slowly analyzed the situation. But the remaining Nangong Xiujie and Xiao Lanmei are not easy to deal with. As such, we should only expect one person to enter the final. Not bad, the others nodded. Although they had the most numbers now, the final result was not easy to predict. Chapter 762, Give Nangong Xiujie to me. Nangong Xiujie is a big problem. Gong Shaoqing spoke with a low voice. If they faced off against Nangong Xiujie in the third round, they were likely to be dealt with in the same way as Dongfang Yu. This was a way of loss that their college could not handle. Xia Jiqing and the others also had worry in their eyes. Nangong Xiujie was so strong, there was no such thing as being able to overpower him, and his behavior was extremely despicable. In the next round, there was only one person who could fight Nangong Xiujie, but this was a big problem. Just when everyone were worried about Nangong Xiujie, the voice of Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly rang. Give Nangong Xiujie to me. When the words came out, everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Gong Shaoqing shook his head for the first time. No. You are the strongest in our team, it is impossible that you enter the finals. You cannot be used to deal with Nangong Xiujie. Xia Jiqing and the others also nodded their heads. Nangong Xiujie was so strong. If Bailey Honghuang was also defeat, Gong Shaoqing would not be able to defeat him in the final. Because of this, Bailey Hongzhuang was the hope of their school. She was not to be used to deal with Nangong Xiujie. Gong Shaoqing is right, Hongzhuang, you have to be safe and enter the finale. Xia Jiqing said seriously. Although she is very angry about the thing with Dongfang Yu, she had not lost her reason. Looking at the bigger picture, the final was the most important thing, and they could not be tempted by the moment of anger. However, Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head, don't worry. Nangong Xiujie will be defeated by me. She will never let Nangong Xiujie be arrogant. Since he was humiliating Dongfang Yu this way, then she would use the same way to humiliate Nangong Xiujie. Since Nangong Xiujie vowed that he would enter finals, then she would let him stop outside the finals. Hongzhuang, just as Gong Shaoqing was about to talk, Bailey Hongzhuang lifted his hand to interrupt him. I don't have much to say about this matter, but I will let Nangong Xiujie regret it. The beautiful eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang was shining with a cold light. Nangong Xiujie had successfully provoked her anger, she is bound to let him pay the price. Seeing the firm attitude of Bailey Hongzhuang, everyone were worried, but they also believed in Bailey Hongzhuang and thought she had to have her own reasons. After all, so far, the judgment of Bailey Hongzhuang had never been wrong. Since your mind is set on it, I will not stop you. Gong Shaoqing's eyes flashed with forbearance. In fact, he was also very angry because of the incident. He wanted to kill Nangong Xiujie directly. Only, he was not powerful enough. In the past he had thought that he was strong enough, but after this college meeting he understood that he was merely a frog at the bottom of a well. Because they are not strong enough, they need to endure such humiliation. He could only watch as his good brother was bullied, unable to do anything, completely helpless. At this moment an unspeakable anger and unwillingness exploded in his heart. Even when they had been ridiculed by the Lingyin College it was nothing, but now that they had insulted and humiliated Dongfang Yu like this, he felt a deep anger. If he was strong enough, then how could people ridicule them like this? If he was strong enough, he could personally avenge his brother. Chapter 763, To take Bailey Hongzhuang as a wife. Hongzhuang, I also support you. Kill this annoying guy. Xia Jiqing's eyes flashed with anger. He was so arrogant and they couldn't stand it. Bai Junyu and the others also agreed. In fact, this was what they wanted the most, it was just because of the overall situation that they choose to bear with it. However, after Bailey Hongzhuang made this decision, they choose to support it. Perhaps they were not rational enough. Perhaps their ideas were not good enough, but this was what they wanted to do and it was in their blood. As cultivators they had always been at the front together with their brothers. This time, they would fight. We cannot forget that not only is there Nangong Xiujie, there is also Xiao Lanmei. Gong Shaoqing's eyes flashed with wisdom while he was speaking. Although Xiao Lanmei is indifferent, he is very strong. He has never humiliated the other party, so even if he defeats us, it doesn't matter. Although Xiao Lanmei was in another group than them, they did not find him disgusting. From their previous battles, they could see that he was a proper man. He was not being bothered by Xue Haolang and the others, and his indifference came from the heart. Everyone nodded. Amongst all the people fighting, Nangong Xiujie was the scum amongst scum. I am afraid that Nangong Xiujie is doing this because of me. I am sorry for dragging you all on, Mo Yunjue said with a low voice. As soon as the words were said, Cui Haoyan immediately answered, Mo Gongzi, this matter has nothing to do with you at all, you have been implicated from the start. Why would you apologize? Not only Cui Haoyan but all others also felt the same way. Mo Yunjue belonged to the Qing dynasty, but he was willing to offend the two princes for them, this was already making them immensely grateful. Anyway, Nangong Yuer caused you some trouble, and I am quite angry because of this. Mo Yunjue's face was a little gloomy. With a personality like Nangong Xiujie, he would never be able to become a successor to the Qing dynasty in his life. Too shameless, mean and selfies, he was much worse than Nangong Aochen. Everyone could see that Mo Yunjue was genuinely angry in their behalf, and a slight smile appeared on their faces. Their impression of Mo Yunjue was really good. Mo Gongzi, Nangong Yue hunts you so seriously, but you haven't been subdued by her yet. I admire you very much. Thinking about how Nangong Yue mistook Bailey Hongzhuang for Mo Yunjue's wife, they found it quite fun. Even the furious expression of hers made Xia Jiqing laugh out loud. Mo Yunjue smiled helplessly. In fact, I think this is a quite distressing matter. If I could find myself a wife, then this problem would be solved. Mo Gongzi, I am afraid that it is not just a few women who is scrambling to marry you. I guess your vision is too high. Zhang Yunfeng smiled and joked with him. Now that they had figured out what to do next, everyone's mood had relaxed a little. You have all seen how hot-headed Nangong Yue is. Unless I find a strong woman like Bailey Hongzhuang, I am afraid that they will always lose to Nangong Yue. Mo Yunjue joked. However, when everyone heard his words, their expressions changed subtly. Chapter 764, The Inscription Master's Search. It seemed that their guesses were not wrong. Mo Yunjue seemed to like Bailey Hongzhuang. Even if he was aware that Bailey Hongzhuang had already married someone, it was impossible for Mo Yunjue to let go of his like for her. If it wasn't so, then he would never say such a thing. Xia Jiqing and Zhang Yunfeng were both looking at Bailey Hongzhuang with envy. It was hard for a woman to not envy her. Di Beichen was so outstanding, and he gave up all other women only to devote himself to Bailey Hongzhuang, but Mo Yunjue was aware that she already had a sweetheart. Even so, he was still willing to offend the two princes on her behalf. There was also a bit of surprise in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Mo Yunjue suddenly sighed. This, it was truly a bit ambiguous. Master, Mo Yunjue might like you too. Little Black exclaimed. His master's charm was really irresistible. It seemed that Di Beichen would have to stay beside their master in the future. Even if she was married, it would not affect the charm of their master. I don't know when Di Beichen will come back. It's no wonder Mo Yunjue has been helping the master. Little White laughed as if it had no fear in the world. Bailey Hongzhuang was helpless. She really wanted to knock the heads of those two small guys who dared to tease her. While Bailey Hongzhuang was attending the college tournament, the three inscription masters once again gathered in Wubao Pavilion. However, they did not see Bailey Hongzhuang, so all they could do was ask the sales assistant. Master Bai, the girl left after you that day. I do not know where she is now. A bit of helplessness appeared on the sales assistant's face. Each one of the three masters appeared today and all asked her the same question. However, the girl told her nothing before, and she never asked. Such an important person, how come you did not even ask where she lived? Bai Jingtian looked dissatisfied. He had rushed back immediately after completing the research, and to his surprise, everything was exactly like Bailey Hongzhuang had said. It was so amazing. The problem that had always puzzled him had been solved in this way. He believed that as long as he could discuss me with Bailey Hongzhuang, he could learn more. Today he no longer treated Bailey Hongzhuang as a junior but as an equal. The accomplishments of Bailey Hongzhuang in the field of inscriptions can already be considered that of a master. However, he did not know where Bailey Hongzhuang was. If Bailey Hongzhuang had already left the imperial city, wouldn't he be depressed? Old man Bai, was the test successful after you returned? Qin Qinggu asked out loud. Bai Jingtian nodded his head. Yes. I have never heard the little girl's words before, but it is the most convenient way. It really makes me like this girl. Ji Yanma was also impressed. After I went back to research it, I immediately returned HRE, but I don't know what master can teach this little girl. This is really amazing. Unfortunately, we have no trace of the little girl. Qin Qinggu frowned. I'll inquire about the traces of this little girl immediately. That day, they were too troubled about the problem to think about anything else. Chapter 765, Problematic Future. The eyes of Bai Jingtian and Ji Yanma shone as they decided that they could not let Bailey Hongzhuang leave just like that. This kind of talent is truly horrifying. Old Man Qin said as well, as he immediately asked them to inquire of the whereabouts of the little girl. The sales assistant in Wubao Pavilion saw that the inscription masters, whom he thought were high above all else, were looking for the small girl in a hurry, and he was surprised. Just who was this girl? How could she make 3 inscription masters forget all about their image? Once the news spread, he feared that the entire imperial capital would be shocked. The 3 inscription masters were big figures in the imperial capital, and they had a wide network of connections. So many people would want to befriend them, but it was simply impossible. Now these 3 inscription masters had taken the initiative to look for this girl. It was simply unheard of before. For some time, many people started searching for the whereabouts of Bailey Hongzhuang. As long as it was possible to help the 3 inscription masters, then they might gain something from it. They might even get an inscription. That is such a good thing that they normally would never be able to ask for. Bailey Hongzhuang was unaware that the 3 inscription masters were using their power to find a trace of her. She was still waiting for the start of the 3rd round in the competition. Master, Nangong Xiujie is at the 3rd layer of the Red Realm. Although you might usually have no problems dealing with a 3rd layer Red Realm practitioner, this Nangong Xiujie might have some hidden cards, Little Black analyzed. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded her head slightly. Nangong Xiujie must have his hidden cards, but as to how many he has, it is still unknown. Although he has the background of the royal family, all he could have, apart from natural treasures, was royal martial arts. However, behind her was the amazing Bailey family. How could she possibly lose to Nangong Xiujie in that kind of thing? Seeing the confident appearance of Bailey Hongzhuang, Little Black and Little White looked at each other, a smile hidden in their eyes. Their master was the most domineering person. Bai Shi also fiddled bored White his pawns. Damn, it was really depressing that he had not had the chance to fight yet. Soon after, the vice principal and Lu Huayan returned, however Fu Hongba and Dong Fangyu never returned. Obviously the situation with Dong Fangyu could not be dealt with so easily. Fu Hongba was there trying to get Dong Fangyu out of the mental demons. Teacher, how is Dong Fangyu's situation? Gong Shaoqing asked immediately after seeing Lu Huayan's return. Lu Huayan's face was a bit helpless as he shook his head. The situation is very bad. Dong Fangyu has been hit too hard to be able to get out of it. A confident person was suddenly defeated like this, all his confidence and self-assurance completely destroyed. It is not easy to gain hope again. Instantly, everyone's hearts sank, but the anger in their eyes was even more intense. If Dong Fangyu is unable to escape from it, his future achievements would be incredibly limited. Don't think about it for the time being, fight well. I believe Dong Fangyu's ability will be good enough to break through this encounter and have even better results in the future. Lu Huayan's eyes flashed with a firm light. He held confidence in his students. Chapter 766, Free Pass, Bailey Hongzhuang. Although Lu Huayan was very optimistic, everyone understood that it was not an easy breakthrough. The matter had caused Dong Fangyu to become like this, and the one behind it was Nangong Xiujie. The hatred in everyone's heart was a bit more intense. Huan Chuyu also returned to the high platform, but his peaceful face was a lot colder at the moment. Dong Fangyu had become like this. As a vice principal he was riddled with guilt. If Dong Fangyu had not participated in the test, he would not have ended up like this. Seeing Huan Chuyu return, the faces of Jiang Qingqiu, Lin Yinghao, and Sang Hongxi did not change. They obviously believed from the start that the Kanglin College people did not deserve to be regarded equal to them. The 3rd round of the competition begins now. Jian Qingqiu said. Because there are 5 cultivators left, we will draw lots. The cultivator who gets the blank sign will go directly to the next round. Listening to Jian Qingqiu's decision, everyone is surprised. How great it would be if one could get the free pass. 5 people, including Bailey Hongzhuang, went to draw the lottery. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes could not help but fall on the blank tag in her hand. She did not expect that the person who got the blank sign turned out to be her. Nangong Xiujie against Gong Shaoqing. Xiao Lanmei against Xia Jiqing. Bailey Hongzhuang sits over. When everyone heard this, they were even more emotional. They had not expected that Bailey Hongzhuang would be so fortunate. For a time, everyone was shocked by Bailey Hongzhuang's good luck. Anyone who can reach the finals will get a lot of attention. Bailey Hongzhuang was able to go straight to that level. Regardless of her final ranking, the fact that she could enter the final was already enough to be proud of. Everyone at Kanglan College were a little surprised when they heard the news. Bailey Hongzhuang had originally planned on dealing with Nangong Xiujie. She had not expected her luck to be this good. However, it is a good result. She can save her strength and enter the final, which is beneficial to them. Nangong Xiujie smiled coldly at Bailey Hongzhuang and said sarcastically, "It seems that you are very lucky. But we will meet sooner or later in the final. Even if you kneel to me for mercy, I will not let you go." Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows slightly and she could not help but ridiculing him. "You really think too much." In the first battle of the 3rd round, Nangong Xiujie is against Gong Shaoqing. Lin Yinghao said. However, at this moment Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly interrupted. "Principal, I wonder if you can transfer this blank card to others." After hearing the words, Huan Chuyu, Jian Qingqiu, Lin Yinghao and Sung Hongzi were shocked. They had not expected Bailey Hongzhuang to ask this suddenly, but it was the scene that Jian Qingqiu wanted to see the most. Judging from the previous situation, the strength of Bailey Hongzhuang is obviously good. This round turned out to be so bad for them. But who would have thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would make such a demand without fearing her own death? Chapter 767, Bailey Hongzhuang is impulsive. Huan Chuyu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in wonder, wondering why Bailey Hongzhuang would suddenly make this decision. Logically saying, this is already the best result for their college. Who will Bailey Hongzhuang transfer her rights to? Lu Huayan was also stunned. Is there any reason for Bailey Hongzhuang to do this? Without waiting for Huan Chuyu to answer, Jiang Qingqiu has already taken the lead to say, "Yes, however, who would you like to give the rights to?" Gong Shaoqing, Bailey Hongzhuang said without hesitation. "Okay, then this battle will be changed to Nangong Xiujie and Bailey Hongzhuang." Gong Shaoqing goes directly to the finale. Jiang Qingqiu's ace was filled with a deep smile. The biggest ace for Kanglan College was Bailey Hongzhuang. Now Nangong Xiujie would be able to solve Bailey Hongzhuang, so Gong Shaoqing would not be able to make any waves in the final. Looking at the bright smile on Jiang Qingqiu's face, Huan Chuyu scolded him in his heart. Just by looking at Jiang Qingqiu's smile, he could already guess that the wishful thinking he was dreaming of. If it was not good for Lingyin College, it would be impossible for them to promise it. Now that Jiang Qingqiu has already spoken, it will be useless even if he complains, so he could not help but feel helpless for a while. He was wondering why Bailey Hongzhuang made this decision. Gong Shaoqing and Xia Jiqing slowly returned to the Kanglan College. Lu Huayan saw the two and asked, "Why did Bailey Hongzhuang make such a decision?" "Hongzhuang wants to take revenge for Dongfangyu." Xia Jiqing never concealed it and directly said the truth. In fact, this was what all of them wanted to do. Listening to Xia Jiqing's words, Lu Huayan couldn't help but sigh. Too impulsive. He could not help but imagine that Bailey Hongzhuang would fail this battle. Whether it was Nangong Aochen, Nangong Xiujie, or Xiao Lanmei, they were not easy people to deal with. With Gong Shaoqing wanting to defeat them, it was too hard, but can Kanglan College really come back now? Thinking of the fact that they might lose again, Lu Huayan's face was very ugly. Kanglan College would not be able to handle another blow like this. However, he does not feel that Bailey Hongzhuang's approach is wrong. No matter what the outcome of the college tournament, he would always stay by the college's side. So what if they don't belong to the three colleges in the future? Today, Lingyin and Beihai College are too embarrassing. They had long since lost their original beliefs, so being a part of the three colleges does not make sense any longer. Teacher, no matter how the results will be, we all feel that this is very meaningful. Cui Haoyan said in a low voice. Ever since they had arrived at Lingyin College, they had been humiliated. Why should they let these despicable people look down on them? Perhaps this decision was impulsive, but they did not regret it. At a young age, if you are not sometimes impulsive, then you were not young. Understanding this, Lu Huaiyan nodded. Yes, Nangong Xiujie deserves a beating. However, there is one thing that Lu Huaiyan never said. Although Bailey Hongzhuang was a second-layer Red Realm cultivator, it was one rank worse than Nangong Xiujie. To win this battle, he was afraid would be very difficult. However, if Bailey Hongzhuang is really not Nangong Xiujie's opponent, then this time Kanglan College has no other options, so there is no difference to an early or late death. Chapter 768, Battling Nangong Xiujie. On the battle platform, Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujie were standing opposite one another. The breeze was blowing, their cloths were fluttering in the wind, and the two were looking at one another. Even if they did not speak, the sharp edge showing in their eyes already showed the violent atmosphere between the two. Bailey Hongzhuang, I didn't expect you to be like this, finding your own grave. Nangong Xiujie's eyes were filled with mocking, and the smile on his lips was ridiculing her. Making such a decision in front of everyone was clearly trying to make herself look good. Unfortunately, she did not have the strength to back it up. Today he has completely ignored Mo Yunjue. No matter what kind of character Mo Yunjue is, he will never let this go. He believed that even if there was a strong power behind Mo Yunjue, he was a prince, and thus would never be touched. Of course, if Mo Yunjue knew what Nangong Xiujie was thinking at the moment, he would sneer. There is no one in this world he would not dare to move against. However, this depended on whether or not it mattered enough, and Bailey Hongzhuang clearly mattered enough. Since you want to find death, I will fulfill you. Nangong Xiujie turned his head and looked down on Bailey Hongzhuang. His confident proud smile seemed as if he had already won victory. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes glanced at him, revealing indifference and disdain. You seem to be very fond of being a royal piece of crap. Spending so much time to just talk, what purpose is there? Hearing her words, Nangong Xiujie's face could not help but be gloomy. Bailey Hongzhuang's words completely ripped open his face and defeated his previous arrogance. The feeling of saying a lot of ruthless words, wanting to see your opponent tremble in fear, however the other person was completely ignoring you and said a few words, rendering you speechless. Obviously Bailey Hongzhuang's ability to beat his face is first-rate. The contest begins. As the words of the Rieri fell, the atmosphere condensed. Nangong Xiujie's eyes darkened a bit, and he put away his previous arrogance. His eyes were a bit more serious. He is different from Nangong Yuer, who likes to underestimate her enemy. Besides, Bailey Hongzhuang has previously proven her ability. If he gets beaten, this will be very bad for his image. Next moment, Nangong Xiujie held the palm of his hand, and Yuanli swept through his body without reservation. His feet slammed against the ground and he tore through the air as he appeared in front of Bailey Hongzhuang in a flash. Seeing this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang knows that Nangong Xiujie is decent, but she has no fear of others' physical fitness. A long sword pierced the air, and an amazing pressure stabbed towards Bailey Hongzhuang like lightning. Bailey Hongzhuang's body retreated, the glass sword came out and she welcomed Nangong Xiujie's sword move. Ding! 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 The movements of the two were fast as thunder, the sword lights were dazzling. As if two whirlwinds were entangled with each other, the sound of the weapons hitting each other continued to emerge from the whirlwind. The hard ground of the platform was punctured by sword holes, and as the dust scattered, everyone looked in deep confusion. Most of the people can't see the battle that is going on, they can only see the two colors rotating. It was a weird situation. To have such a solid foundation, the time and energy that needs to be spent on it is an absolutely terrifying amount, but Bailey Hongzhuang had done it. Not only she was a very talented pharmacist, but she also had a very good understanding of inscriptions. When Bailey Hongzhuang took out the inscription, there was a terrifying conjecture in his heart. Maybe Bailey Hongzhuang was the inscriptionist who drew the inscription. Just that, is this even possible? But this is something that could only be answered by Bailey Hongzhuang herself. Chapter 770, Devil's Palm. If it was someone else, he wouldn't hesitate to say that it was impossible, but if it was Bailey Hongzhuang, he wouldn't be able to give a definite answer. In the beginning, when Bailey Hongzhuang came to the college, her strength was outstanding, but she was not his, or Dongfang Yu's opponent. But now, in just a short time, Bailey Hongzhuang overtook them, and this kind of progress was simply terrific. Despite obtaining the legacy of the ancient ruins, luck was also part of the strength. At least in this respect he was unable to compare with Bailey Hongzhuang. Lu Huayan's eyes were also flashing with joy. This performance of Bailey Hongzhuang was simply stunning. Huan Chuyu also put aside the worries in his heart. Although Bailey Hongzhuang was young, she always had her own reasons for doing things, and now they have no choice but to believe in her. Compared with the calm Huan Chuyu, Jiang Qingqiu's face turned black. He never imagined that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength could reach this level. If Bailey Hongzhuang won this competition, it would be really bad. Nangong Xiujie's face was also very ugly. He originally thought of winning in a brilliant manner that did not leave a way for Bailey Hongzhuang to counterattack, but what happened now was not the same as he had imagined. That was just the appetizer. Now let's start the real battle. Nangong Xiujie put away the arrogance that he had in the past, and his eyes were serious. Now he has a clear understanding of Bailey Hongzhuang's strength. She was not simple. If he was not careful, he would lose in her hands. And such a result, he refused to accept. Hearing what Nangong Xiujie said, the look of the people changed again. The battle between the two was so fierce, and it was just the appetizer. So how terrific would the real battle be? Bailey Hongzhuang indifferently said, "All right, let's quickly finish this." She knew that Nangong Xiujie have yet to use all his strength, but she also hasn't used all of her strength. The next is the real contest. In a flash, Nangong Xiujie directly withdrew his weapon. Then, Yuanli rushed wildly and continually gathered on his hands. Everyone saw that Nangong Xiujie's hands were continuously moving, and a complex ball of Yuanli formed in his hands. At the same time, a powerful and heart-rending force spread from his hands. Devil's Palm. Nangong Xiujie shouted, and to everyone's horror, a huge palm was suspended in the air. The palm was in white color, but it was covered with black veins, like palm prints. It was dreadful. In particular, the frightening power emitted by this martial art made many people's hearts palpitate. That was a force that could threaten their lives. It is a high-level mysterious grade martial arts skill. The crowd exclaimed, "The imperial family is famous for its might, and their might is extremely formidable." It is said that in the past there have been members of the imperial family who used this skill to defeat their opponent whose Yuanli was a level higher. I didn't expect Nangong Xiujie to practice Devil's Palm. It also seems that he has mastered it. I'm afraid that this time Bailey Hongzhuang is finished. Yes, the royal family's heritage is not comparable to that of ordinary people. It is unwise to offend Nangong Xiujie. Chapter 771, Shocking Everyone. Seeing Nangong Xiujie's move, Bailey Hongzhuang's face did not show the least bit of panic. Bailey Hongzhuang's speed was not slow, her hands moved as she made many complicated and mysterious handprints. Everyone was dazzled. It could be seen that the level of martial arts skill used by Bailey Hongzhuang is not by any means weak in terms of speed or complexity. The final result of the battle was still unknown. Sacred Palm. 1. A violent energy fluctuation broke out from the hands of Bailey Hongzhuang, and a few beads of sweat could also be seen between her brows. Everyone was stunned because the energy fluctuation which spread out from Bailey Hongzhuang was not weaker than that of the devil's palm. Then, a huge palm with a cyan-colored flame appeared behind Bailey Hongzhuang. As the cyan flame burned, and the temperature around the platform rose a little instantly and beads of sweat appeared on practitioners' faces who were close. Obviously, the martial arts skill of Bailey Hongzhuang was also a mysterious grade martial arts skill, and its level was also not weaker than that of Nangong Xiujie. Sensing the power of these two powerful fluctuations, the onlookers who were quite close to the platform took a few steps back. As long as the two martial arts collide, the energy that erupts must be terrifying. If they were too close to the platform, they might get implicated in the resulting disaster. Seeing that everyone has stepped back, many people sighed. The difference of strength between the acquired realm and congenital realm was too high. 2. The power brought by Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujie was not bearable to ordinary people. Xia Yuqing couldn't help but worry a little. She didn't expect that Nangong Xiujie's reputation for being powerful wasn't undeserved but true. These fluctuations were too frightening. Bailey Hongzhuang wouldn't have an accident, right? Not only Xia Yuqing, Gong Shaoqing and the others were also very worried. In a fight of this kind of level, they can no longer judge who is stronger. A look of ruthlessness flashed past Nangong Xiujie's eyes. The huge palm did not hesitate to hit Bailey Hongzhuang. Die! Bailey Hongzhuang's sacred palm slammed against the devil's palm fiercely. The white light and the cyan light collided violently, and the devil's palm and the sacred palm collided together in the sight of countless people. Boom! A powerful bang sounded as if it had come from the ninth heaven. The unusually violent energy was raging around the platform. Boom! The sky seemed to collapse at that instant and the violent white and cyan lights swept away everything that came in contact, each occupying a half side of the platform. Under the stage of the competition, countless practitioners were shocked looking at the violent energy on the stage. It was a really astonishing sight. Nangong Yujin and others who were previously unperturbed were also nervously looking at the high platform at this moment. This fierce battle has exceeded their expectations. The crowd was silent at this moment. Only the explosions caused by the two martial arts skills could be heard. Almost all the onlookers couldn't even say a word. This kind of confrontation, even in the previous year's college tournaments, was very rare. No one could predict the winner of this battle. The talent of Bailey Hongzhuang was amazing. Nangong Xiujie was strong. What's more, Nangong Xiujie's Yuanli was even a level higher than Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 772, You Lose. When the white light and the cyan light disappeared, the smoke gradually dispersed, and everyone could see everything that was in front of them. The two figures on the stage gradually appeared in everyone's eyes. The originally hard and tough platform already had a huge deep pit in the middle, and there were numerous cracks like a spiderweb in its sides. Nangong Xiujie still stood in his original position. His luxurious robes had been stained with blood, his hair was messy, and he was all smiling. On the other hand, Bailey Hongzhuang's plain white dress was also blooming with blood, her fine black hair draped over the shoulders. Her delicate and beautiful face was pale. Bailey Hongzhuang could not even imagine how the battle which she thought that she could have easily won had become like this. However, the originally lively environment seemed to be frozen at this moment, and everyone's eyes were focused on Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujie. Although Nangong Xiujie's face was a bit pale, his figure was still straight, and the corner of his mouth slowly spurred a sneer. You lose, it was just the 2-1, simple words, Bailey Hongzhuang's face turned ugly. But she pretended to not care. I won't, puff. 2. Before even she could finish a sentence, Bailey Hongzhuang could not control the blood rushing out of her throat, and spewed out a mouthful of blood. As blood spewed out, Bailey Hongzhuang's face instantly turned pale, the whole person was unsteady and fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, everyone in there sucked in a breath of cold air. The result was really imaginable. Who told Bailey Hongzhuang to oppose Nangong Xiujie? No matter what, Nangong Xiujie had the advantage. Of course, in this situation, Nangong Xiujie won. How could this be? Xia Jiqing and others were with unspeakable pain and hatred. Bailey Hongzhuang actually lost. Since you guys are so cruel, you can only watch her die. Nangong Xiujie indifferently said. Nangong Xiujie went towards Bailey Hongzhuang step by step, and Bailey Hongzhuang, who had no strength to stand up, had a touch of tension in her eyes after seeing him come closer. You. What are you going to do? The smile on Nangong Xiujie's lips gradually widened. It was enchanting and charming. Every step of him was very slow, but it was extremely firm, as if every step was stepping on Bailey Hongzhuang's heart. MMH. Nangong Xiujie did not answer Bailey Hongzhuang, but kissed Bailey Hongzhuang directly in her mouth. At that moment Bailey Hongzhuang saw two figures at the distance coldly watching her. It was Di Bei Chen and Han Xiling. Why were they here? Di Bei Chen might have come for her, but why did he come together with Han Xiling? Chapter 773, You Are Just Trash. Fearing that Di Bei Chen might misunderstand, Bailey Hongzhuang fiercely bit his tongue. Seeing this scene, everyone is sucked in cold breath again. Was Bailey Hongzhuang crazy? She wanted to humiliate Nangong Xiujie in such a way. But this is the Qing country's capital. However, when everyone of Kanglan College saw this scene, they only felt their blood boil, and every cell in their body was excited. This was Bailey Hongzhuang's counterattack. Bailey Hongzhuang sneered as she looked at Nangong Xiujie condescendingly. Her eyes were full of disdain. She wanted to pay back all the things that Nangong Xiujie had done to Dongfang Yu, and also didn't want Di Bei Chen to misunderstand. She wanted Nangong Xiujie to taste the pain of being humiliated. You are just trash. When he said this, Nangong Xiujie's eyes were bloodshot. He was a high-ranking prince. When was he humiliated like this? Bailey Hongzhuang, you are looking for death. Nangong Xiujie gnashed his teeth. This was the biggest shame in his life. He had always been condescending, but now he was being bitten by a woman. It was simply unbearable. Oh. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled, is it that only you are allowed to humiliate people and others are not allowed to humiliate you? 1. You are merely relying on your identity as a prince to oppress everyone. If you did not have this identity, you are nothing. The next moment, Nangong Xiujie threw her down to the ground below the platform. And said, if I am trash, you are the trash of all trashes. Everyone stomp on her and beat her to death. After saying this, Nangong Xiujie left the platform without hesitation. Only Bailey Hongzhuang was still lying below the platform and was suffering unbearable humiliation. Bailey Hongzhuang used her actions to take revenge for Dongfang Yu. Originally, the Kanglan College practitioners who saw this should have been very angry, but somehow, they also felt indescribably happy. Perhaps, they had secretly envied her on weekdays, forgetting that they also have a backbone, and also have an unyielding will. But no one went to help Bailey Hongzhuang. She was still lying there surrounded by a sea of students from various colleges looking at her. There was a thick smile on the face of Han Xiling. Bailey Hongzhuang not only didn't disappoint her, but her performance was also perfect. Now with this, how can Di Bei Chen still love her? It was hard for Han Xiling's heart to conceal the excitement. There was also a rumor of Bailey Hongzhuang being that Mo Yunjue's wife, and it was also said that they even had a child. Chapter 774, completely wiped out compared with the happy Huan Chuyu, Jian Qingqiu, and Lin Yinghao's faces were very ugly. Originally based on Nangong Xiujie's strength, it was impossible for him to lose this battle. But now, he has not only lost the battle but also got humiliated in public. On the contrary, with the fact that Nangong Xiujie had previously humiliated Dong Fangyu, this scene was taken for granted. The most important thing is that this was Lingyin College's territory. Not only they had lost the battle in their own territory, but even the students of Lingyin College were applauding Bailey Hongzhuang. This was simply nonsensical. Now, because of the overall situation, they can't stop their students from cheering. If this matter was spread, it would only bring shame to the history of Lingyin College. Song Hongxi was equally astonished. He looked at Huan Chuyu with a hint of envy in his eyes. It was a great blessing for Kanglin College to have a student like Bailey Hongzhuang. So far, all the limelight of the inter-college tournament had been robbed by Bailey Hongzhuang, and the entire Beihai College seems to have become a foil. Regardless of the final result of this tournament, no one will forget the amazing performance of the Kanglin College. Nangong Yujin's face was ugly to the extreme. Although they represent Lingyin College, as Qing's princes, they also represented the face of the Qing's imperial family. Now all the people who represented college have been wiped out. This was not only the shame for Lingyin College but also the shame for their imperial family. As of now, there was only one person remaining, and that was Nangong Aochen. Although Nangong Aochen was strong enough to win first place in the inter-college tournament, they have lost in the first few elimination rounds. This reality made the Qing's royal family unsatisfactory. Nangong Yujin quickly jumped onto the platform, and immediately carried back Nangong Xiu_IIE, who was unable to move. Nangong Xiujie had already been ridiculed. If he still stayed here, it would just be a joke in the eyes of everyone. He was even more worried that his second brother couldn't stand such a big blow. On normal days, only his second brother humiliates others. When was the situation of others humiliating his second brother? It had never happened before. What's more, when it happened, it still happened in the eyes of the public. With his second brother's temper, he was afraid that he would completely collapse. Xia Yuqing and others immediately came to Bailey Hongzhuang's side. In this battle, though Bailey Hongzhuang was not hurt that much, it was necessary to go back to rest. Chapter 775, The Dark Horse, Bailey Hongzhuang. Xia Yuqing looked deeply at Bailey Hongzhuang. Are you really okay? Looking at the uncertainty and worry in Xia Yuqing's eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. Do not worry, this battle has not hurt my vitals and the superficial injuries will soon recover. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was alright, Xia Yuqing let go the worry in her heart. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang herself was a godly doctor. She believed that Bailey Hongzhuang knows her physical condition very well. Lu Huaiyan also went to Bailey Hongzhuang. There was no shortage of worry in his eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang, your contest for today is over. Go back to rest soon. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly, all right. Bailey Hongzhuang returned to the dormitory under the eyes of everyone. Mo Yunjue was also in the crowd. The face that had always been calm and not too emotional had not fluctuated too much and was indifferent as usual. However, the eyes that were as deep as a black hole had a few changes, but the fluctuations disappeared too quickly, making it impossible for others to see. The long-awaited inter-college tournament's elimination round ended with the unforgettable and eye-catching battle of Bailey Hongzhuang. All the students left. After this battle, no one dared to treat the Kanglin College students with contempt. Because they proved their strength with action. The strong was always respected. Huan Chuyu left the high platform with a smile on his face, and the next mess was handed over to Jian Qingqiu to deal with. Regardless of the results of the final, it was only in this year's tournament that the limelight of Lingyin College and Beihai College had completely been snatched by the Kanglin College. The people who were originally onlookers also dispersed with a face full of shock. They thought that this time Lingyin College would crush Kanglan College with an irresistible momentum. Who could have thought that Kanglan College would explode with such a huge unexpected victory? On the other hand, except for Nangong Aochan, who directly advanced to the finals, all the other participants of the Lingyin College have been eliminated in the elimination round. The audience thought Nangong Xiujie would win, but he actually lost in the hands of Bailey Hongzhuang, not to mention, Bailey Hongzhuang still won while fighting across levels. What kind of combat power was this? Bailey Hongzhuang was definitely the dark horse of this time's inter-college tournament. In the end, Beihai College only entered the finals due to Xiao Lanying. 1. As for Xiao Lanying, those who watched his battle knew that Xiao Lanying was also very strong. But, under the cover of Bailey Hongzhuang, the limelight of Xiao Lanying was completely obscured. However, everyone understood that the finals that is to be held tomorrow is the real highlight. This year's tournament seemed to be more exciting than every previous session. Although Xia Yuqing lost in the hands of Xiao Lanying was obviously not a scum like Nangong Xiujie. He did not make any excessive moves and finished the battle as soon as possible. In this regard, Xia Yuqing also accepted this failure with peace of mind. Being able to advance to the third round has exceeded her expectations. As for being the trump card of the college, Xia Yuqing has already prepared for it, so she does not feel a bit disappointed. Inside the house, Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the people who cared about her in the house. A beautiful smile couldn't help but emerge. You can rest assured, I am fine. Her injury was clear to herself. It only needs to be nursed back to recover, but her skin might need some time to heal. Notes: 1. The previous translator used his name as Xiao Lanmei, while it is actually Xiao Lanying. Chapter 776, Huan Chuyu's pill. Huan Chuyu walked to Bailey Hongzhuang's side, and handed a white porcelain bottle to her. Bailey Hongzhuang, take this pill as soon as possible, and take a rest. Although he still felt that Bailey Hongzhuang's move was a little impulsive, but with how it ended, Huan Chuyu felt very happy. At least, this time the slap in the face of Lingyin College was very loud. When he thought of Jian Qingqiu's and Lin Yinghao's ugly faces, he couldn't help but laugh. Vice Principal, this, not waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang to say something to refuse, Huan Chuyu directly said, you are injured for the sake of gaining face for our college. If you don't even accept this pill, as a vice principal, I would be ashamed. Bailey Hongzhuang felt the concern in his words, and thought about it for a moment before nodding. Thank you, vice principal. Chu Chuyu nodded slightly. He looked at Lu Huaiyan, and then looked at Xia Yuqing and others. Obviously, Xia Yuqing and others still had something to say to Bailey Hongzhuang. If he and Lu Huaiyan were to stay here, they won't be able to cha freely. Then I and Mentor Lu will go first. Don't stay too long, let Bailey Hongzhuang take a good rest. Huan Chuyu said slowly. Understood. The crowd nodded while smiling. After Huan Chuyu left, Xia Yuqing was relieved, and her bright eyes were full of excitement. Hongzhuang, you are so great. I'm afraid this time the one who's going to collapse is Nangong Xiujie. Ha, since coming to Lingyin College, their mood had been very depressed. Whether it is the students of the Lingyin College or the members of the royal family, they were all so haughty and arrogant. This time, they have finally taught them a little, so they were so happy that it can't be put into words. Yuqing said it well, then Nangong Xiujie should feel humiliated. In my opinion, he would not dare to go out within a short time. By Junyu's, his face was full of vigor. Nangong Xiujie was too arrogant before, and now Bailey Hongzhuang made him lose face. He only felt refreshing. This time, Nangong Xiujie has completely thrown away his face. Gong Xiaoqing's face had a rare smile. They are not people from the Qing dynasty. Even if they were humiliated, once they leave the Qing dynasty, it will not affect them too much. Unfortunately, Nangong Xiujie did not have such good luck, having lost face in his homeland, and as a prince of the Qing dynasty, he was afraid that it will take too long before he can wash away all this. I don't know how is Dongfang Yu. Bailey Hongzhuang's brows slightly wrinkled. She did this is to take revenge for Dongfang Yu. Now the hatred has been settled, but she didn't how Dongfang Yu was. I just heard Mentor Lu mentioning that this news should help Dongfang Yu. You don't need to worry about the situation of Dongfang Yu. The final is tomorrow, your physical condition. Gong Xiaoqing's face was a little bit worried. The final is the most important. If Bailey Hongzhuang was injured in the elimination round, it would be a pity that she won't be able to display her full strength in tomorrow's final. Hearing what Gong Xiaoqing said, everyone's eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. This was the problem that they were most worried about. In the body of Bailey Hongzhuang, they saw hope, although Gong Xiaoqing is also strong, but in this final, it depended only on Bailey Hongzhuang. T/talks. Well, this chapter's name is somewhat not fitting this chapter, right? 'Cause, only a fine was mentioned that HCY gave a pill to BHC. Other than that there's nothing about that. I don't know why the author did as such. Do not worry, it will not affect. Bailey Hongzhuang waved her hand. Her internal injuries were not serious. As for the skin, as long as one can endure, in tomorrow's contest, she can still perform well. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang so determined, everyone completely let go of the worry in their hearts. If Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't perform in tomorrow's finals, then it would really be a pity. Hongzhuang, you have a good rest. We will not affect you here. Zhang Yunfeng's eyes were full of care, and the pale face of Bailey Hongzhuang showed that her situation was not very good. If they continue to stay here and only delay the rest of the 100-year-old makeup, the finals would be held tomorrow, and the time for Bailey Hongzhuang to rest was very short, so they should make her start resting as early as possible. You are tired today, go back to rest earlier. Hongzhuang, I will not bother you today. See you tomorrow. Xia Yuqing blinked at Bailey Hongzhuang and closed the door. After everyone left, Bailey Hongzhuang was just about to lie down and rest, but the door was opened again, and Mo Yunjue slowly walked in. Seeing Mo Yunjue, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes had a trace of strange color. How come you are here? You don't seem to want to see me. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head slightly. No. For Mo Yunjue, Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that the two of them don't seem to know each other quite well. She always felt that Mo Yunjue was not that simple, but so far, she has never found anything wrong with him. Perhaps she overthought about things. I just came to see you. I hope your injury is not serious. Mo Yunjue, who looked very free and unrestrained, sat down beside Bailey Hongzhuang. I am okay, the injury is not serious. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and answered. I heard that you have a husband. Why didn't he come with you this time? Mo Yunjue asked with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang was stunned. It's been a month since Bewitching left, and she wondered how things were going. In addition, Bewitching did not know that she would come to Qing country to participate in the inter-college tournament before leaving. If Bewitching hurried back to the college, he would only find that she was not there at all. If he wanted to come, it will take some time for him to meet her. She seems to have gotten used to the bright and mischievous smile of Bewitching, who always accompanied her. Now that he is not here, she also missed him. Mo Yunjue looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, and his eyes gradually changed. When Bailey Hongzhuang came to her senses, she found that Mo Yunjue had already stuffed a medicinal herb into her mouth. There was a strange color in the eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang. Mo Yunjue, what are you doing? The effect of this medicinal herb is very good. You should be able to recover as soon as possible after taking it. Mo Yun faintly smiled. Since your true husband is not here, then let me take care of you this time. In the eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang, there was a strange light shining. As an alchemist, She knew what this herb was and its effects. Fourth grade elixir, this is a sacred product for healing grievous wounds, and it is a little extravagant for her simple injury. However, she was even more surprised with what Mo Yunjue said. What's with this theory? Obviously, Mo Yunjue did not think that it was extravagant to let Bailey Hongzhuang take fourth grade elixir. Chapter 778, Nangong Aochen's Yuanli is at the fifth stage of the Red Realm. He is very strong, and he is different from Nangong Xiujie. He has always faced his opponent directly, and is a gentleman. However, the gentleman also has his own insistence, no matter whether he has a good relationship with Nangong Xiujie, and your actions today have always damaged the face of the royal family. I believe that Nangong Aochen will try to earn back face for the royal family in the finals. Of course, in an upright way. Nangong Aochen also has a contractual beast. Its strength is also equivalent to the fifth-order human cultivator in the Red Realm, so his strength is undoubtedly the first in Lingyin College. She must be careful when she meets him in the final, but her Beast King was not weaker than his contract beast. If your Beast King is older, it could kill them. As for now, the outcome of the battle is still unknown. Listening to the information that Mo Yunjue said, a color of surprise appeared in the eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang. Even if the instructors has not collected so much information about Nangong Aochen, Mo Yunjue could know everything. She felt that the reason Mo Yunjue came here was, one for her injury and the other for telling her useful information. In fact, after knowing the exact cultivation of Nangong Aochen, her heart that has been hanging was also put down. Thank you. Bailey Hongzhuang was sincere. She didn't understand why Mo Yunjue would help her like this, but she really appreciated it. Mo Yunjue smiled a little. You have a good rest. I will come back to see you tomorrow. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded, be careful. With the departure of Mo Yunjue, Bailey Hongzhuang was lying on the bed, the whole person relaxed. The previous battle made her exhausted, and there was also pain caused by the wound. Needless to say, the effect of fourth grade pill, Bailey Hongzhuang felt that even though her body hurts a lot, the trauma was starting to improve. The higher the grade of the drug, the better the effect, which is why the high-level alchemists are popular. After Bailey Hongzhuang changed into a clean robe, and wrapped her wounds, she began to rest. However, during the night, Bailey Hongzhuang got a message. The final was changed to 3 days later and the alchemy competition will be held tomorrow. After knowing this result, there was a strange color in the eyes Bailey Hongzhuang. Why would they change the time of the competition? Did it happen in the previous years? I heard that this request was made by Nangong Aochen. He said that because you were injured, it is unfair to go to the finals tomorrow, so it will be changed to 3 days later. Xia Yuqing's eyes were also filled with surprised look. Nangong Aochen's influence was just too big, just a sentence and he had changed the course of the competition. I see. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed, and couldn't help but recall the words of Mo Yunjue. Nangong Aochen was a gentleman, so he was not willing to take advantage of her injury. However, she believed that there was a more important reason for this, that is, if Nangong Aochen wants to restore the dignity of the royal family he must defeat her in an upright manner. That was also why he was doing this. For this result, Bailey Hongzhuang did not have that much feeling. It was also a good thing to give her 3 days of rest, although her injury was not serious. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang and others rushed to the place where the alchemy competition was held. Among the 3 colleges, though there were not many alchemists, the alchemy competition attracted much attention. That was just because the alchemists always seem mysterious in the eyes of the ordinary people. Since they can see the alchemists perform, nobody would want to miss it. Hongzhuang, I heard that after Nangong Xiujie went back yesterday, somehow he died. Lu Huayan's face was unable to hide the shock that he felt when he heard the news early in the morning. Although Nangong Xiujie's injuries were serious, it did not endanger his life. It was too strange that he died now. What are you talking about? How is this possible? Xia Yuqing couldn't help but yell. This news was really crazy. However, for a guy like Nangong Xiujie to die, with his death, this world would have one less scourge. It was a good thing for this world. Bailey Hongzhuang was also shocked. This was really unbelievable. She understood that Nangong Xiujie's injury had suffered some serious internal injuries, but it will take only 1 month to recover and his life would be safe. Could it be that because she humiliated him yesterday, Nangong Xiujie couldn't stand it, so he committed suicide? As soon as this idea came to her mind, Bailey Hongzhuang immediately erased that idea. Nangong Xiujie was a greedy person and was also fearful of death. Although this kind of humiliation was unbearable, he would never commit suicide. His death was really somewhat strange. At this time, Gong Shaoqing also walked towards Bailey Hongzhuang and others. After hearing their talks, Gong Shaoqing also told them what he knew. Don't guess wildly. As far as I know, Nangong Xiujie was killed by others. When this was said, Xia Yuqing took a breath of cold air. Nangong Xiujie is a member of the royal family. And he was killed in his own Qing country. The courage of the person who killed him is really not small. With Nangong Xiujie's character, it is easy to offend people. It's not surprising for him to get killed. It's just that it happened at this kind of critical juncture. I also heard the news from Vice Principal. Gong Shaoqing's eyes flashed as he thought about it. It was really strange. Is it possible that the other party deliberately killed Nangong Xiujie when he was injured? Fortunately, no one doubted Bailey Hongzhuang. Because it was impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to break through the imperial palace's defense while in an injured state. Nangong Yujin was obviously so frightened by this incident that he has never appeared until now. Bailey Hongzhuang also thought the same. A guy like Nangong Xiujie dying is good for the people. And whoever killed him was not her concern. Right, how is Dongfang Yu now? Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Gong Shaoqing and asked. She had been resting last night and didn't know about Dongfang Yu's situation. Gong Shaoqing smiled faintly. Dongfang Yu has been much better. According to Vice Principal, it will not be long before Dongfang Yu can recover from that state. Hearing these words, everyone showed a comfortable smile. Dongfang Yu's injury was the most worrying issue for them. After knowing that he would be safe, they were also relieved. Just as everyone along with Bailey Hongzhuang was waiting for the upcoming alchemy contest, in Wubao Pavilion by Jing Tian and others were also aware of Bailey Hongzhuang's achievements. Bailey Hongzhuang not only understood inscriptions, but she was also a special enrollment student of Kanglan College. She was also in the Red Realm at such a young age. When they got the news, they went silent for a while. It was rare to see a seedling who was this talented in inscriptions. As if being a good inscription artist was not enough, she went to be a cultivator. Wasn't this a waste of talent? However, when Bai Jingtian and others heard that Bailey Hongzhuang had defeated Nangong Xiujie, the three of them were shocked. How strong is Bailey Hongzhuang? They didn't understand Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, but they had some understanding of Nangong Xiujie's strength. Among the younger generation of the royal family, Nangong Xiujie was the strongest after Nangong Aochen. But Bailey Hongzhuang actually defeated Nangong Xiujie. It can be seen that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in cultivation was also good. However, after thinking about it, the three old guys ignored it directly. Although Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in cultivation was outstanding, they can't let such a talented inscription artist go waste. There was no shortage for cultivators in Xinxian continent, but inscription artists were really rare. They were even rarer than alchemists. Even if Bailey Hongzhuang was a good inscription artist, stealing the limelight from that large group of cultivators was also good. Let's go to Lingyin College now, Bai Jingtian said. Since that day, they had put so much effort to get the information about Bailey Hongzhuang. And now that they knew her whereabouts, it was only natural to hurry up to meet her. Qin Qingyi and Ji Yunma also nodded immediately. Bailey Hongzhuang was the inscription genius they valued. If she got injured in this battle and hurt her hands, they would die out of anxiety. When the sales assistant watched by Jingtian's group of 3 rushing away from Wubao Pavilion to Lingyin College, she was astonished. She had stayed at the Wubao Pavilion for so long, and it was the first time that she had seen the 3 masters so anxious. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others did not wait for a long time, and the 3 principals have already appeared on the high platform. Obviously, Jian Qingqi's face was not so good-looking. Compared with the happy Huan Chuyu, Jian Qingqi was slightly gloomy. In his view, in yesterday's contest, the Lingyin College completely lost face. But since he was the principal, he could only try to cover up his emotions. For certain reasons, we are holding the alchemy contest today instead of the finals. The contest is divided into 3 rounds, and the questions are taken by the principals of the 3 colleges. Jian Qingqi announced. Listening to the words, everyone nodded. This kind of assessment was very fair. Then, Lu Qinyue and others have embarked on the alchemy platform that has already been prepared. However, from noticing the number of people standing, everyone's look couldn't help but somewhat change. Are the Lingyin College and Beihai College sending 2 alchemists each? Cui Haoyan's face was full of strange colors. They had always thought that among the 3 colleges, each college can only 1 alchemist to participate in the competition. In fact, the most important thing in the college exchange competition is the martial arts contest. Though the alchemy contest receives much attention, it is not considered that important. That's why all these years the colleges only sent 1 alchemist each. Everyone had become accustomed to it. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows wrinkled. According to the information that she had learned before, Beihai College should have only 1 alchemist participating. How is it that there is suddenly more than 1 person now? Moreover, this person was a new face. They had previously had more than 1 conflict with the team of Beihai College. However, they had never seen this person before in the team. Why is it like this? What tricks are they trying now? Xia Yuqing's face had become difficult to look at. Yesterday, their Kanglan College had stolen all the limelight and made the Beihai College and Lingyin College lose face. Could it be that they want to regain some face in the alchemy test? Lu Qinyue obviously did not think that something like this would happen. Her face could not help but become ugly. Although she was very confident about her level of alchemy, she still could not help but worry. After all, her level of alchemy is not a secret, and many people already know it. And the number of people participating has reduced the advantage she had. However, she also did not rule out the possibility that the other party may have an alchemist who was stronger than her. Huan Chuyou's brows also wrinkled. According to his judgment, if there was no certain reason, Lingyin College and Beihai College will not do this at all. He was afraid that there was something more to it and began searching for any bit of clue from the information that he had. But even after thinking, so far he has not found anything. And there can be nothing done about this. Lingyin College and Beihai College have 2 people each. And we have only sent Lu Qinyue. We are quite at a disadvantaged position. Zhang Yunfeng couldn't help but look at Lu Huayan. This was the first time that they were participating in the inter-college contest. They didn't know much about this specific situation. Lu Huayan's frown deepened, and there was some hesitation in his looks. In fact, even he can't be sure about what went wrong, but he can be sure that there must be some problems. I can't be sure. They suddenly have more people. No news about this was sent to us before. Hearing that, Gong Shaoqing and others also felt some pressure. This sort of situation was really a bit bad. Just when everyone thought about how to resolve this situation, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly came out. Don't worry, I am going up. As soon as this was said, the eyes of everyone fell on Bailey Hongzhuang, revealing a surprised look. In fact, Bailey Hongzhuang was indeed an alchemist, and her rank was also high. Bailey Hongzhuang, you were injured yesterday, this alchemy depletes mental strength. Lu Huaiyan was concerned. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and waved her hand indiscriminately. It doesn't matter, I just suffered some superficial injuries, and it has no effect on my mental strength. Lu Huaiyan looked at the quiet and unconcerned look of Bailey Hongzhuang, and he calmed down. Bailey Hongzhuang has already done enough for their college in this inter-college contest, and even he was grateful towards her. He was afraid that the alchemy contest will now become a burden for her. Bailey Hongzhuang did not hesitate to go up the high platform. Since she has already arrived, she will do her utmost to make their college win. Alchemy is not a difficult thing for her, not to mention that her mental strength has not been damaged at all, it won't cause any problems. Lu Huaiyan did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang would go straight up, but after thinking about it for a moment, he did not stop her. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang had her own opinions and considerations. Since she decided so, he believed that Bailey Hongzhuang had the real ability. He thought that when he and Fu Hongba insisted on recruiting Bailey Hongzhuang to their college, he only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang's talent was outstanding. It was very rare to see that persistence and unyielding temperament. Unexpectedly, after this period of time, Bailey Hongzhuang's growth was so amazing that he couldn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang was just a 16-year-old girl. From the meticulousness and self-confidence that she showed when she was doing things, this is not something that a young little girl could have. However, Bailey Hongzhuang just did that. Perhaps, there are some geniuses in the world who are loved by heaven, and she is not destined to be comparable to ordinary practitioners. Standing on the high platform, Lu Qinyue couldn't help but feel worried. This situation is obviously different from what she had imagined. However, when she saw that Bailey Hongzhuang coming towards her, the worry of her heart dissipated. There was always a kind of reassuring power in Bailey Hongzhuang, but she also had to admit that it seems that all the difficult things were not so difficult after falling into the hands of Bailey Hongzhuang. However, many of the onlookers in the Qing dynasty had a strange look on their faces after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang on the high platform. Isn't that the girl who defeated Nangong Xiujie? What is she doing on the platform? I don't know, it couldn't be to participate in the alchemy contest. What a joke. She is a Red Realm practitioner. How could she be an alchemist? When one person said this, everyone shook their heads with a smile. It was impossible. As they all knew, the enormous energy that needs to be spent as an alchemist was already too much. Bailey Hongzhuang was a Red Realm practitioner. She should have put forth all her time in achieving that, and it was impossible for her to have the energy to learn alchemy. Xia Yuqing and others were not at all surprised by the opinions of the people around them. In fact, they also thought like that at the beginning. However, there were always some freaks in the world that break their common sense, and Bailey Hongzhuang was such a freak. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly stood beside Lu Qinyue, showing a confident and reassuring smile towards Lu Qinyue. Lu Qinyue nodded slightly, and the tension in her heart was completely dissipated. The alchemists of Beihai College and Lingyin College were curiously watching Bailey Hongzhuang, and they don't know what she was planning to do. Is Bailey Hongzhuang going to participate in the alchemy contest? Seeing this scene, Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi couldn't help but look at each other. They couldn't understand what Bailey Hongzhuang was trying to do. In fact, since their college's limelight was stolen in yesterday's contest, Jian Qingqi and Sang Hongxi had secretly decided that, no matter what, in today's alchemy test, they can't let their college to be out of the limelight. Lu Qinyue was the disciple of Huan Chuyu. They all knew that Lu Qinyue's alchemy was very good. It was for this reason that they had arranged for 2 alchemists to go up, which would increase their chances of winning. However, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly went up. What was she going to do? The two looked at each other and saw each other being confused. Then Jian Qingqi looked at Huan Chuyu and asked, "What are you trying to do by letting her go to the high platform?" When Huan Chuyu saw Bailey Hongzhuang on the high platform, he already understood her plan. The anxiousness that he felt before was gone, and he felt more relaxed at heart after knowing that she was going to participate. It was really a great blessing for their college to be able to recruit Bailey Hongzhuang. Ever since Bailey Hongzhuang entered the college had not given her much care, but Bailey Hongzhuang had done her best for the honor of their college. No one dislikes this kind of student. Listening to Jian Qingqi's question, he smiled faintly, naturally, because Bailey Hongzhuang is also an alchemist. Jian Qingqi and Sung Hongxi were shocked. How was this possible? However, after seeing the confident smile revealed by Huan Chuyu, they knew that what he said was really true. After careful consideration, the two also relaxed. Judging from the achievements of Bailey Hongzhuang in terms of cultivation, it was impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to make great achievements in alchemy. It was entirely to make up the number of participants. Jian Qingqi shook his head. He really didn't know what Huan Chuyu was thinking. If he just wanted to make up the number, let somebody else participate. Why let Bailey Hongzhuang go up? This would just be a shame for Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance was very amazing yesterday. Today, she would be ridiculed here. However, this scene was also what he was willing to see. These are the three alchemists from the Qing country's Alchemist Association. Hearing this, the crowd burst into discussion. Alchemists were a rare existence, who were high above normal people. The alchemists who could be invited by Jian Qingqi today must be really extraordinary. People of the entire Qing country knew who the three most famous refiners of this Alchemist Association were. If it were the normal times, it wouldn't be easy to meet them. On the other side of the high platform, the three alchemists slowly walked up. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes also fell on the three. They were all about 50 or 60 years old, and they looked kind and eye-catching. There was a bit of pride in their eyes. This arrogance can be seen in every alchemist, because from the moment they become an alchemist, they already stood out. After seeing the three of them, Lu Qinyue introduced them to Bailey Hongzhuang. According to Lu Qinyue's introduction, Bailey Hongzhuang also understood the identity of the three alchemists. The most important thing was that women have more mental strength than men, but this situation becomes different after giving birth to a child. Obviously, this person was one of a kind. From Lu Qinyue's introduction, Bailey Hongzhuang learned that the only female alchemist, named Xu Jiyou, was a fourth-ranked alchemist, and she was very well versed in alchemy. Not only that, but Xu Jiyou has never married, and all her thoughts have always been placed on the study of alchemy. Out of the other two alchemists, the man who had a slightly rounded face was called Lin Hao, and just as the meaning of his name, he was very proud and was easy to get along with. The other tall and thin old man was named Chen Yu. He was also a fourth-ranked alchemist, and he has been secretly competing with Lin Hao on weekdays. This was a fact that was known to the entire Alchemist Association. Huan Chuyu and the three alchemists were old acquaintances, and their relationship was very good. Previously, when Huan Chuyu said that he was going to visit old friends, was to visit them. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and nodded. Huan Chuyu as a fourth-ranked alchemist, and as the president of the Alchemist Association's Kanglin City branch, his acquaintances will not be less. However, the next moment, the news of Lu Qinyue surprised the Bailey Hongzhuang. Hongzhuang, do you know why Chen Yu and Lin Hao like to fight against each other? Lu Qinyue smiled. Bailey Hongzhuang's brows slightly raised. Is there any reason for this? Lu Qinyue's smile broadened. That's because Lin Hao and Chen Yu, both of them like Xu Jiyou, so they have always liked to compete in alchemy over the years. There are many people who knows of this matter. Hearing these words, Bailey Hongzhuang was amazed. She didn't expect Lin Hao and Chen Yu to be so jealous at such an old age. It was really interesting. Upon taking a closer look, Bailey Hongzhuang could also find a bit of a clue. Both Lin Hao and Chen Yu were standing beside Chu Jio, almost sandwiching her in the middle. Obviously, both of them really like her. Seeing the situation, the smile on her red lips widened by a bit. The characters of the three seniors should be legendary. After Jian Qingqiu's introduction on the identity of the three alchemists, the alchemy contest commenced. Now, let's start the competition. The first question will be drawn by the vice principal of the Kanglin College. Jian Qingqiu laughed. Huan Chuyu slowly stood up, and a cylindrical container was placed in front of him. A number of paper rolls that had already been prepared was in the cylinder, and Huan Chuyu directly extracted one of them and untied the rope, and read out the topic written on the paper roll. First question, classification of medicinal materials. The ingredients required for 2 different pill formulas are placed together. The participants from each college are required to identify the pills, classify the herbs accordingly for the 2 pills, and remove some unwanted herbs. The first team to finish will score 3 points, the second team will score 2 points, and the last team to finish will score 1 point. Hearing this, everyone understood why both Lingyin College and Beihai College sent 2 alchemists on the stage. In regards to competing as a team, Lu Qinyue would have been at a disadvantage if they had sent only her. It required team effort after all. Fortunately, they still have Bailey Hongzhuang. Chapter 785, The Calm Bailey Hongzhuang. After reading the contents on the scroll, Huan Chuyu's sight could not help but fall on Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi. Obviously, these 2 guys have already discussed this before itself, and today they have suddenly sent 2 alchemists to represent their college. It's just that they didn't think there would be Bailey Hongzhuang. At this moment, he only felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was really a great blessing to their college. Below the high platform, Xia Jiqing and others could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Hongzhuang has gone up, otherwise the situation would be worse. Lingyin College is really despicable. They even thought of this kind of method. Really detestable. Bai Junyu shook his head helplessly. If he did not have such a mind, how could Jian Qingqiu could have his current position? The reason why Jian Qingqiu was able to get Lingyin College to get such a high status in Qing country, he would certainly have some ability. Zhang Yunfeng and others also sighed, but they have always been convinced of Lu Qinyue's alchemy standards. After all, Lu Qinyue was a rare alchemy genius. Soon, dozens of herbs were placed on the table in front of Bailey Hongzhuang and Lu Qinyue. Obviously, there were herbs that were not needed at all, and they need to be removed. These herbs were not prepared by Lingyin College but by the 3 alchemists. As alchemists, they were best at assessing alchemists, and they know what kind of common mistakes that alchemists make. Therefore, there was no small trap in these medicines. Bailey Hongzhuang and Lu Qinyue looked at each other and their eyes fell on the numerous herbs. They didn't say which 2 kinds of remedies were used. It seems that we need to make our own judgments. Lu Qinyue slowed down. The Bailey Hongzhuang eyes shone, and the delicate and perfect face did not show a change. It didn't seem to be difficult. Since they have never told us the type of pill, I believe that it should be a pill that we all know, and we should be able to distinguish it after a closer look. Bailey Hongzhuang was very calm, although this medicine looks confusing, but it is the same as everything else. As long as it is a pill which everyone knows, it would not a problem to quickly classify the herbs with her and Lu Qinyue's understanding of alchemy. Listening to the words of Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Qinyue also focused her mind and began to carefully analyze the medicinal herbs. Below the high platform, some onlookers who did not understand the situation changed their views when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang really began to choose herbs together with Lu Qinyue. They looked at each other and couldn't believe what they saw. Bailey Hongzhuang is really an alchemist. Apparently, Bailey Hongzhuang has used her actions to prove her identity as an alchemist to everyone. If she is not an alchemist, she will not continue to stand on the high platform and be assessed together with Lu Qingyue. This Bailey Hongzhuang is really the most amazing woman I have ever seen. But although she is an alchemist, I believe her alchemy level should not be that high. That is natural, but it is very difficult for her to become an alchemist. It is an enviable talent. Everyone felt a lot of emotions. Towards Hongzhuang, they felt envious from the bottom of their hearts. They didn't have such talent after all. The healing pill. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes slightly lifted, and her line of sight fell on Lu Qingyue. If what she guessed was true, then these herbs were the herbs needed to refine the healing pill. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Qingyue also looked at the medicinal herbs. She smiled. Hongzhuang, you are right, it is the healing pill. Bailey Hongzhuang also smiled, and then the herbs needed to make the healing pill were immediately selected from the various herbs. When Bailey Hongzhuang picked out the herbs needed for the healing pill, Lu Qingyue was also looking for the next pill which could be made from the given herbs. When Lu Qingyue thought about it, Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the Jinling grass in her hand. The weight of this Jinling grass seems to be more than that of other herbs. Lu Qingyue looked at the medicinal herbs with concern. As she frowned, how can this be? Bailey Hongzhuang saw that Lu Qingyue did not answer for a long time, and could not help but ask, Qingyue, you did not find out? Lu Qingyue shook her head slightly. She was anxious. As a matter of fact, this was not a difficult assessment, but the time was very important. The speed of the Lingyin College and the Beihai College alchemists was not slow at all. Compared to the tense Lu Qingyue, Bailey Hongzhuang was very calm. She clearly knows that anxiety would not help, it would be the opposite, and may drag down their progress. What's more, the alchemy competition is the result of the combination of 3 assessments. It is not decided by a single assessment. There were still other 2 rounds. No. Lu Qingyue's brows were slightly wrinkled. This situation was really strange. Hongzhuang, I think the rest of the herbs are likely the herbs needed to the refining of Heaven Origin pill, but Jinling grass has already been used as an ingredient for the healing pill. The Heaven Origin pill would lack Jingling grass. Lu Qingyue couldn't understand it. According to the rules of the contest, there should be enough herbs for refining 2 kinds of pills. Hearing these words, the Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Yes, it is Heaven Origin pill. You should take out the herbs for Heaven Origin pill first. Lu Qingyue felt that it was strange. But seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was so affirmative, she did not hesitate, and took out the herbs. Hongzhuang, but the Jinling grass. Just as Lu Qingyue was puzzled, Bailey Hongzhuang had split the Jinling grass in her hand into 2, and she smiled and looked at Lu Qingyue. Upon seeing it, Lu Qingyue once again looked at the 2 herbs, and she was smiling with joy. She did not expect that this test was not only to test their ability to recognize the herbs and pills, but also to test their mastery in them. Then, Lu Qingyue and Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and raised their hands together, indicating that they had completed the first round of assessment. Upon seeing it, the 3 alchemists also stood up and slowly marched towards the 2 of them. Xia Jiqing smiled. In her eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang was the most outstanding alchemist in the world. Although she did not know the level of the alchemists of Lingyin College and Beihai College, she still had full confidence in Bailey Hongzhuang. Gong Shaoqing and others also showed a faint smile. Compared with the martial arts competition, the alchemy contest undoubtedly made them relax. After all, Lu Qingyue was the disciple of Huan Chuyu, and it was not for show. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the other 2 teams. Their speed was not slow, but they were trapped on the same problems as Lu Qingyue. If there were 2 Jinling grasses among these herbs, then in this first assessment it would really be difficult to say who would win. The 3 alchemists went to stand in front of Bailey Hongzhuang and Lu Qingyue. After seeing Lu Qingyue, they showed a faint smile. For Lu Qingyue, they were no strangers. On the contrary, they were very familiar with the disciple of Huan Chuyu. At this moment, they also show a kind light. The three people looked at the medicinal herbs placed on the table and couldn't help but nod. The result of this distribution was not wrong. In front of the medicinal herbs, Bailey Hongzhuang and Lu Qingyue have already noted on the paper about which herbs were used to refine which pill. Especially after seeing the Jinling grass that was divided into two, Chu Jio nodded and then smiled as she said, "You have done well." As she said those words, Chu Jio's eyes couldn't help but fall on Bailey Hongzhuang. Their previous discussion was not missed by them, and it was clear that it was Bailey Hongzhuang who first discovered the problem of in the Jinling grass. According to their understanding, Bailey Hongzhuang was a cultivator who concentrated on cultivation. They did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang was also an alchemist, and she was very knowledgeable in it too. This surprised him a bit. After hearing Chu Jio's words, Bailey's Hongzhuang and Lu Qingyue looked at each other and a smile spread across their lips. After the alchemists of Lingyin College and Beihai College saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had been completed, they could not help but feel anxious. This anxiousness would inevitably confuse them, but it will be slower. After Huan Chuyu saw the performance of the Bailey Hongzhuang, the corner of his mouth was also showing a light smile. He was very confident in the accomplishments of these two people in alchemy. Although the three alchemists have not announced the results, but with his understanding of them from being friends for many years, Bailey Hongzhuang and Lu Qingyue obviously won. Jian Qingqiu's brows were slightly wrinkled. He thought that by using this method he could defeat the Kanglin College. But he didn't expect that Bailey Hongzhuang was really useful. She helped Lu Qingyue to complete the first round of assessment at the fastest speed. This was obviously not within his plan.